make a left turn, and welcome back to the Jack's Left channel, and welcome back to another episode of History Jacksonville. I'm George Farrar, and it's a hot August 9th, 2014, and I'm on Riverside Avenue. You know, Riverside Avenue has changed over the years. At one point, this was the only skyscraper, large building in this area of Riverside. But as we can see, there's been a lot of development, and there's a lot of new development. We have over here, we have 220 Riverside. You know, the mayor and the city has been really big into this project. It's supposed to really have quite an impact on this area, and a lot of money's been spent. Contracts have been signed, I'm sure. Certain people's wallets have been stuffed, or campaign contributions have been stuffed. You know, people really like big new projects to waste a lot of money on that may benefit, more ends up like, you know, benefiting the rich, you know, and they're working very hard right now putting together these, I guess these will be condos or something or other, probably something I couldn't afford to live in, but it's going to be something nice for whoever ends up living there. You know, I mean, I guess if you could stand the traffic noise on Riverside, not that far from the I-95, I-10 split, and of course, not that far though from downtown on the Landing, plenty of palm trees, and of course, a beautiful skyline. So there's certainly some benefits. Not that far from the river, you can even get a river breeze, and of course, there's I-95, the Fort Warren Bridge. And there's been some new development lately. Of course, there's the Everbank building that was built some time ago, but I'm not here to show you new development, or even development from 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and we're not here to look at palm trees. And you know, we're here right now to look at something that's kind of it's an interesting contrast, and it kind of shows me where the city is at this point. You know, there's such a hustle and bustle in the city to build these big, huge projects. It's got to be big, and it probably has to benefit the rich. Maybe a couple middle-class folks will get some benefit out of it. But we all know that the money in this city goes to these kinds of big projects. But what's kind of a interesting thing, and that's why we're doing History Jacksonville today, and I kind of stumbled upon this. I've always known that this old fire station has been here, but I just was walking down the riverfront filming the Farrar Report for this coming Sunday, and as I sometimes tend to do, I stumbled around a corner, headed to my car actually, and I stumbled on a place that I wanted to show you, and that I think is a classic example of, maybe you could say what's wrong with the city, but in some ways maybe you can say what's right, because in some cities what you're about to see will have been bulldozed to the ground years ago. In the desperation for tax money and to, I guess, have money to put more palm trees and funnel more money to the rich, the city deeded this old fire station number 5, built in 1910. The city, essentially the mayor and city council, I guess, apparently had agreed to deed the land on which this now abandoned fire station stands. So what you have, of course, is this amazing contrast. You have the river, you have this beautiful modern office building where lots of people work each day, and you got the old Blue Cross Blue Shield building, now called Florida Blue, of course, same company, they just changed their name. And then, of course, this fire station, and of course the usual things that we see, cracked concrete and our palm trees, and of course back to looking back further up the avenue. So today, what I want to do is give you a little bit more of a closer view of this historic fire station, because eventually the city will come to its senses and I suppose will demand for this structure to be torn down or something to be done with it. Or maybe Everbank will determine what they're going to do with this structure. But ultimately, here we are looking at this this fire station. It was designed to handle 2 fire engines, several horses, I think something like 14 firefighters, all of them fitting comfortably into this little fire station and servicing the fire rescue needs of our city for something like almost a century. But of course, this structure is no longer modern enough to fulfill the needs of our modern fire rescue department, which, thank goodness, they do fund enough to keep the fires out in this city. So we are left with this fire station, and as you can see, broken windows, some windows covered up by plywood, and the ornate brick though. And of course, over time, this fire station was modernized. You can see more like the modernization, I would say, 40s, 50s, maybe early 60s. So it's something really neat. Makes you wonder what they ultimately will do with it. So I guess I'll leave it with this, and then of course you know what'll happen next. I'll leave it at this. We have some great treasures in the city. As people bustle by on these avenues, and as people clamor to build the latest, newest, biggest, most latest design office building or condo, or what you have, what you may have out there. Year by year we lose these kinds of things. The neighborhood changes, of course. The dynamic around here changes. I'm not here one to say that this necessarily should stand in the form that it is, but something could be done with it. Something nice. But there's such a myopia in this city, and you know, it's quite disappointing. Honestly, it's kind of quite weird if you think about it. All right, well, you know what I like to say. I've got some film, I've got some pictures, and so I say, let's roll it.